So we're going to be doing the biology CA online quiz. So, okay, here goes nothing. In some cases, molecules need to be transported across the cell membrane against their concentration gradient. For example, the sodium-potassium pump in a cell membrane moves particles from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration. What is this type of cellular transport called? Active transport, because it requires energy to make it go from the low to high side, because it's going against its nature, basically, to simplify it. And what directly supplies the energy for the sodium potassium pump? ATP. That's where the cell gets its energy from. A group of plant and animal cells were placed in several mediums of different concentrations. Match each of the following cases with its corresponding observed change. Animal cell placed in a hypotonic. So hypotonic means that there's more water than solute, and hypertonic means there's more solute than water. And when an animal cell is placed in a medium that is more water, or mostly water, so a hypotonic medium, it absorbs the water, making it swell and eventually burst. Plant cell placed in a hypotonic medium becomes turgid, because that's the term to say that it will be full, although it won't burst because it has the cell wall protecting it. And then the plant cell placed in a hypertonic medium will become plasmolized also, so it will lose a lot of water to the medium outside, because it will give the medium water, and it will become plasmolized. That's just the word for it. And then animal cell in a hypertonic medium will shrivel up, and it can even die because it is giving the medium all of its water. A large surface. Okay, choose the correct answers to indicate whether the described factors increase or decrease the rate of diffusion. A larger surface area of the barrier increases. Smaller distance increases. The larger the particles, the slower the rate. A lower temperature will decrease the rate. A higher pressure will increase the rate. What does the following reaction represent? So this reaction is glucose breaking down into alcohol and carbon dioxide and energy. So it is alcoholic fermentation. There you go. All living cells are surrounded by a cell membrane that separates the inside of the cell from its external environment. The membrane is composed of a phospholipid bilayer in addition to several other molecules. Which molecule is not a component of the cell membrane? Nucleic acid. Next. Drag and drop the correct terms. No. Okay. The cell membrane regulates the passage of molecules into and out of the cell. This is important for the cell to maintain its interval composition under changing external conditions. For this purpose, the cell membrane is blank, which means selectively permeable. What is the word equation for aerobic respiration? Okay, so aerobic respiration aerobic has oxygen while anaerobic does not. So both of them start with glucose. So that might be one way you can remember the equation. So glucose plus oxygen, this one. So yeah. And it gives us carbon dioxide and water and ATP, always. Which of the following represents the equation of anaerobic respiration in yeast? In yeast, anaerobic, so no oxygen, so it just starts with glucose. anaerobic respiration in yeast. Okay, so it starts with glucose, and so glucose is broken down, and then it produces alcohol and carbon dioxide and energy. There it is. A coach is testing the endurance of an elite athlete. After the athlete had performed 50 minutes of a certain exercise, the coach asked the athlete to perform a sprint race. The athlete soon became out of breath and tired. The coach told the athlete that this pain is caused by the buildup of substance X in their muscles. Identify substance X and the process that led to its formation in the athlete's muscle. Substance X is lactic acid, which builds up in the muscle after an exercise. And the process is lactic acid fermentation. It's pretty simple, it's in the name. Indicates the condition necessary for this process to occur. Oxygen is abundant. You need oxygen for this to happen because it's aerobic respiration, not anaerobic respiration. But sometimes lactic acid fermentation can be anaerobic. You just have to know that in this specific example, oxygen is abundant, which is why you end up being out of breath after an exercise. Okay. Name another process that occurs under the same conditions in microorganisms only and the substance produced in this case. Okay. The process is alcoholic fermentation because that's the only other one that we study this year, or this term, sorry. And the substance produced is alcohol. It's in the name, pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so energy is used to synthesize proteins. That's one of the functions that we have in our bodies that's one of the ways that we use energy from food. Energy is used to carry out cell activities like repair, development, and cell division. Energy is used to allow blank contraction and consequently the movement of the organisms as a whole. So muscles. Energy is used to maintain body, blank, and warm-blooded animals, temperature. Energy is used to allow nerve blank to travel along nerves, impulses. Energy is used to transport substances across the cell membrane against their concentration gradient by active transport. Active transport. Next question.